am surprised that he wants to play Priest against Druid. That is a matchup that really can go either way. Which side would you rather be on?
I want to be on the winning side, generally speaking, but in this case...
Well, which side is that going to be?
If
Tell
it's
me.
the really fast Druid, I think Druid is the one that's favored here.
Okay.
But look at the starting hand from the Priest. If you can get the Circle of Healing, or even just get that Injured Blade Master to stick...
He's got a great curve there.
Yeah. Curve is everything, a lot of times in the early game.
Do you want to play Northshire Cleric on turn 1 without a chance to heal and draw a card here?
That's what he's thinking about, isn't it?
Because he could coin out the Injured Blade Master turn 2,
Right.
but he can't heal it then either unless he draws into that Circle of Healing. And
Precisely.
Then you wish you had played that Northshire Cleric turn 1.
We know the right move is to hold here, and that's a good, diligent, thorough thinking from D2 to understand that I might lose this Northshire Cleric. It's very important that I keep it. So he's going to save it for turn 2, use it with that Power Word Shield, and then be resilient against the board.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. If he was trying to play around something like Wrath, which his opponent did actually have, very, very smart to hold on, wait until turn 2 when he can use the Power Word Shield without having to use the coin.
Well, what are you saving the coin for here? What's you looking for damage off the Wild Pyromancer with the coin?
That's one thing that you could do with it, but it also just lets you, of course, break curve and play a more powerful play sooner.
Sure. And he's got Ysera and Sylvanas in his hand, so
Yeah,
getting
exactly.
those guys out a little sooner is definitely great.
Those are two of the hardest cards for Drew to deal with. Assuming they don't have a silence to negate their special abilities.
Yep.
Those are two of the most problematic cards, because Sylvanas is really hard for Drew to deal with just as a body 5/5, and then the fact is the Druid often doesn't have it. They're so oriented about building a strong board that you can steal a card. And Ysera has so much health, Druid can't remove it easily. No one's playing Natural Eyes in this tournament.
Would that be good against Priest? They often have a full hand of cards.
Could be.
Oh, there's that Circle of Healing.
Wow.
Circle of Healing.
That is 3 cards that I count that you can draw.
That is really tempting. I have to imagine he's going to at least think about playing the Injured Blade Master, healing everything up.
He could play the Pyromancer too and try and clear that Shade of Nexramas with the coin in the Circle.
That is also an
Actually, does he have enough spells to do that? He may not have enough spells to
No, you
No, it
have
starts
to
with the circle?
play the circle first
yeah.
and then play the coin, but that would mean that his Wild Pyro is at risk of dying. Or will die.
Right, and you don't draw any cards.
Well, you could heal manually with the hero power if you coin.
But you have to circle first and then coin.
You're right.
So when you coin, you're not going to be able to heal in time.
But you do have 2
unfortunately.
mana, so with the coin there. He's thinking
He
about
might
that.
give up his
He can heal.
Pyromancer
He
then.
can give up the Pyro and heal the Northshire Cleric.
Okay.
Oh, it's true. He does get that 1 card off the circle by attacking again. I forgot about that.
Yep. Not bad.
So that isn't bad. That
He has
gets
to hurry
at least
up, though.
gets the other card. These animations. When you wait until the rope, it can get scary.
Yep. But, taking care of that Shade of Nexramas, I can definitely get behind that, because that card can be very problematic just with the threat of the combo, right? The Force of Nature Savage Roar. That amplifies a lot due to the stealth minion that keeps growing.
I really like that a lot. When you're playing the Priest against Druid, the way that you tend to lose is by taking a little bit too much damage early before your plays start to be kind of better than theirs for the rest of the game, but you're just too low and they finish you off. Right. So staying at as high life as you can, killing off the Shade as early as possible is pretty cool.
Well, the Druid made a big play clearing the board and dropping a Yeti, but he's only got 2 cards left in his hand. Is that?
Yeah.
Are you worried if you're the Druid player? You're running out of juice?
Absolutely. You're going to want that Wrath card on the left to make sure to draw a card. You have 2 options: deal damage to a minion or do a little bit less damage and draw a card. You're going to want to cycle through as much as you can. Otherwise, you just keep running out of resources, and then Priest, look how many cards he has.
Is Wild Growth bad right now? Do you want to save it till you have 10 mana and draw an extra card off of it, or do you just throw it out there and hope to draw Ancient or something?
Yeah, if you are to draw Ancient of Lore, maybe it could work out playing Wild Growth next turn if you don't have anything better to do. But right now, it's as close to a dead card as it can get until turn 10.
Yeah.
But D2's just got so many options.
Yeah, and this is one of the more problematic cards, though, for a Priest to deal with. Yeti is the perfect amount of stats to just be annoying all the time. It's 4 attack. The 5 health is resilient against most things.
Yeah, just a huge guy. And that's all he is. He's just a body. He's just got the attack and the defense.
Thought Steal.
Ooh.
He
Well,
picks up Innervate.
Innervate's
That's
okay.
interesting.
Harrison's not as good.
Harrison's bad for both players here.
Well, it's a body that matches the Yeti, but he can't play with only 3 mana available this turn.
Just decides to pass it. So now there's an uncontested Yeti, but Tiddler doesn't have anything to press his advantage.
And he doesn't even want to cycle that Wrath on his own Yeti.
No, I don't think that would be advisable.
Yeah, that's going to have to wait until later.
Here's what is interesting. D2 has a very natural play on turn 5 to use his Sludge Belcher, and then Tiddler drew into the Black Knight, which is another 4/5 minion.
Oh yeah, if he does play that Sludge Belcher, that's a big problem, even with all those cards in his hand.
Yep. But now that he does have Innervate, that might change how D2 plays the turn. He has 7 mana available. He can piece together a couple of things.
Is Sylvanas a good play here? I mean, maybe not, because the hero power plus the Yeti can finish her off without having her death rattle trigger.
Well, at least it would kill the Yeti, but he could also just try playing Harrison Jones.
Oh, that kills the Yeti.
That's also a possibility.
But that would end up falling to the Wrath plus hero power. So anything he does here, for now, T.Celestial is going to have an answer for, but he's running out of cards really fast.
Okay. Well, even if Harrison does go down, and his opponent will spend 4 of his mana trying to remove it, which means he only has less than half available to him. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Innervate's not what you want either.
That's got to be one of the worst draws available for Tiddler.
Oh, Innervate is so powerful when you ask a Druid, what do you want in your opening hand? It's usually Innervate or Wild Growth.
He got both.
And he got both, but not in his opening hand.
Nope.
Yeah.
Do you cycle with this at all? Is there a possibility because you feel like it could open up more plays?
Well, I don't know what you would be looking to draw into. If that...
Not Innervate.
You could draw, what, a Yeti? But by using the Wrath for 3, you're basically keeping your Yeti in play and having it not die to the Harrison. So
yeah, just asking the validity of, like, if there was something that he could draw to improve. Oh man, this hand is stacked. It's full 10 cards.
Yeah. Maybe if he thought his only way to win the game was to find Ancient Allure into Ancient Allure, I could see that. Sylvanas, ooh, shiny Sylvanas.
No time for games. Another Sylvanas.
Opposing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Battle of the Sylvani.
From a lore perspective, is that okay when Sylvanas is standing there fighting Sylvanas?
She did.
What's going on there?
We averted the crisis.
Okay, who?
When 2 Sylvanas is on the board, that used to be one of the most confusing interactions before Blizzard explicitly said the death rattle triggers in order it was played. Before, it was very interesting. Like, if you had Sylvanas crash into another Sylvanas, the mind control orders were often really hard to follow.
I think I remember they figured out that it had something to do with whoever challenged the other player was determined the order.
Yeah, I did hear that at one time. Yeah.
You mean like you mean in the friends list, like whoever? Really?
Yes. So
doesn't work like
if
that
you were
anymore.
playing in a tournament and you challenged the other player, your Sylvanas would go first. So you wanted them to challenge you.
Table.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Oh, Ysera.
How do you deal with this?
Ysera awakened.
T.Celestial needs to draw some way to give that Ysera taunt and then Black Knight it.
Oh.
Okay, well that's another way you can deal with it too.
The silence helps, but it's still got this huge body.
Yeah.
I guess your opponent is at 20. Maybe you just bash in, silence, deal as much damage as you can, and hope you draw into the combo or something.
Priest draws a Holy Fire. That's going to be tough to do.
Do you still hold this Black Knight, or do you innervate it out?
I must safeguard the land.
At this point, the threat of Sludge Belcher is so big, I imagine you're probably just hero powering them down to 14 and hoping you get good value out of your Black Knight.
Yeah, you really need to do something to get good value because he's got so many more cards.
He's got cards that can do some really wonky things. Wow! He picks up the Cabal Shadow Priest.
But if he plays it, won't he have to say, okay, I'm taking a bunch of damage this turn? He'll have to take 5 more damage.
It's true, and if he's worried, he's playing against a Druid, those last 2 cards could be Force of Nature.
You're right.
Savage Roar, I mean, he's got to be worried about dying.
I have to admit to just use Shadow Madness so I can clear out both minions and heal myself up above 14.
that would be good considering what we see in Celestial's hand.
Well, he doesn't have the combo, so there's no reason to be afraid of it now, as it turns out, but it could happen anytime. Just start drawing it off the top.
Is there any pressure on him to play Sludge Belcher and fall into the trap of Black Knight?
Ooh. He could. It would, theoretically. He's assuming it's going to stop the 5/5 for a turn. And it will, even with the Black Knight.
That's
so
true.
It actually would not be that awful, even though the Black Knight is so powerful against the taunt minion. The slime from the Sludge Belcher would still be able to get some work in defensively. Was he really going to heal? Not himself? Wow.
What's he looking for here?
I don't know. I guess he's just willing to just play the Sludge Belcher.
There's a card he definitely wants to see. Could you Nightmare the enemy Sylvanas here? Because you know he can't get through your Sludge Belcher.
Yeah, but if he does have the combo, then you're asking for a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, what if there was another silence or something too?
Right.
The silence,
That's
the
that
taunt.
would be
Just bash it
dangerous.
for 10. Thank you.
You know what you can do is you can often use Nightmare on the 1/2 slime that ends up living.
Oh, yeah.
Not this one that will most likely die, but what happens is it ends up being like a nice temporary taunt. It just ends up being a 5/7. Wow, that's actually pretty resilient. Gives you another turn.
Well, he's got half of the combo now. That's Force of Nature right there. And
Yes.
He's below that threshold of health where you want to be at.
But the good news is he has ways to deal with this and be more defensive. So how does he choose to do it? You know, Sludge Belcher is another way that you can taunt up and be defensive and heal.
You've already seen Black Knight.
Right? You've seen Black Knight. You also have Holy Nova to do some cool AoE and heal up at the same time.
Well, he's got to find some way to clear out his opponent's minions entirely or taunt up. And even if he does clear out his opponent's minions entirely, he's going to want to heal above 14. That's the magic number. And Force of Nature is already present in Tiddler Celestial's hand. If he is at 14 or less and gives him an opening, it could happen. He could just draw Savage Roar and end the game.
And he actually needs to get above 15 because he's got Innervate there, which means he can Hero Power as well.
I kind of like this. He's going to play Holy Nova and draw 3 cards.
But you know what's amusing? He still might die.
That's
to
true.
a Force Nature Savage Roar.
That's
yeah,
right.
because of the Innervate.
This is game
That's
over
right.
if he's got Savage Roar off the top of the deck.
The magic number 14 is now 15
Oh,
because
he
of
doesn't
Innervate.
know. Oh,
Spectral Knight.
That could have been game.
You can see it on D2's face. He was so worried, and he sees it's the Spectral Knight knee.
Well, now he just has to play a top minion or heal, and he's way above that threshold.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, at this point, it's finally all of that card advantage that he had all game might finally come and start making it an unwinnable game for Tiddler Celestial. And there was, even though he was losing all game, there was still an opening.
Yep.
He still could have won. It was so close.
Card advantage doesn't matter if you die with 10 cards in your hand. It didn't mean anything.
Yeah?
Yeah, Sludge Belcher will lock the Druid out of the game, especially if he kills off the Spectral Knight. Because then, how do you get past this taunt? I guess you have to silence with a Keeper of the Grove, but then you're still not on the mana to win.
Right. Injured Blade Master. Just getting healed all day.
Celestial almost had the game there.
Force of Nature number 2. Well, he can play both of them.
I guess so. He has the mana available. And if it was if there was no taunt, that's what, 12 damage. That was still a reasonable amount of burst if the Sludge Belcher didn't come down. Can you imagine?
Well, at this point, I think D2 is probably going to end up healing himself up to 16, and that will be even if the Savage Roar is drawn just out of range. No more taunts, though. Holy Fire can especially put it way out of range.
Yeah, at this point, you just want to heal up. The thing you're most scared of is the combo, and as long as you get above that magic number.
Yep. He could keep the pressure. He has a lot of options he could do it with, but D2, I think this game might be all but locked up unless he does something that still leaves him open to that 15 damage combo.
Yeah, I feel like Holy Fire is almost like the guaranteed play, the guaranteed win here, because you lock him out so many ways for him to just kill you from that point on.
Yeah, and he agrees with you. And
sometimes you just got to go full Dennis. Just attack the face with the spell.
I think it would be amazing if we saw a game where a priest player goes full Northshire Cleric. And I've heard you never go full Northshire Cleric.
No, you never.
Have you ever had that happen to you?
I want to say no, but unfortunately, yes.
He's realized it's over. Good game.
Good. That's game number 1, and D2 takes the series lead, Priest versus Druid. And again, he was saying that he was anticipating the Druid start, so this is what he wanted. Now, T.Celestial does have a couple other classes available to him, but
yeah,
you don't want to be losing the first game because it gives your opponent the series edge.
Do you think that he was playing 2 copies of Savage Roar in his Druid deck?
Yeah, I think so.
I imagine he is. We've seen most of the players doing that. It gives you, as you saw, even in that game that was essentially a losing game, 10, and they both have a Circle of Healing in hand. So if either of them holds onto it and finds an injured Blade Master,
yes, I think that's often a good play.
It looks like Celestial is holding on to a lot of stuff to stop early aggression. Does he think D2 is playing a kind of a deck that's got some Undertakers, Death Rattle minions, something like that?
Well, he knows by now that he's almost certainly playing against the more control.
Oh, he's played this obviously.
Right. He saw Wild Pyromancer last game, and those two, that's the card that absolutely sets them apart. Sometimes you see Thoughtsteal in the more aggressive version. Sometimes you see Holy Fire in the more aggressive version, but both of those very rarely.
He didn't end up keeping the Arcanine Soul Priest.
Yeah, he didn't keep the Priest. He kept the Wild Pyro instead, and that's interesting. I'm surprised he kept the Pyro and not the Arcanine.
Yeah, the Soul Priest is often the way you differentiate yourself in the matchup because you're able to take out minions that Priest's hero power is normally not able to affect.
And he makes the correct play on turn 2.
Light.
There you go. Good play.
Heal face, light shall burn you. That's really critical. It's often missed. We'll see what happens on this turn if he decides to coin out Dark Cultist.
He's considering burning him with light as well.
Yeah, and if he were to not coin something out, that would be the correct play.
Yeah, so, I think putting the Dark Cultist out is really nice to seize the board position. And getting in that early damage doesn't really matter, but being able to kill whatever comes out is really important.
Wow.
No. Well, this time I think he's a little bit less happy about having to make that play.
Yeah.
The first time you're pretty pumped.
Slammed Northshire Cleric onto the table there if he had not had that Dark Cultist waiting to eat it up?
No, I think if he were going to do that, he would have done it on turn 1. So D2 has an Ooze in his Priest deck, and T.Celestial just copied that one.
Well, D2 has 2 Circle of Healings with the Arcanine Soul Priest. That's a lot of AoE damage, and you can play it slightly more greedy in this matchup. That's 4 turns of passing for D2.
Yeah, and
the first time he's actually healed himself with hero power, though.
If no other minion gets added, he can just heal up every turn for essentially only taking 1 damage a turn.
Is D2 running Shadow Word Pain?
My fate is sealed.
We've seen some players playing a Shadow Word Pain. I believe Kalento has a Shadow Word Pain in his deck that we saw yesterday. And you do often see something like 1 Shadow Word Pain or 1 Holy Smite in these Control Priest decks. Rarely do you see 1 of each, or certainly not more than 2 total of all of those cards. But Shadow Word Pain could be in these players' decks, but I haven't seen it yet.
Well, if you don't have Shadow Word Pain, your only option is Shadow Madness to take control of a 3-attack minion. And with a guy with a lot of health,
yeah,
probably
Sludge Belcher,
hard to get that to die.
One of the best ways to deal with Sludge Belcher is the Shadow Madness. Also, one of the best ways to answer Sludge Belcher is Sludge Belcher.
Also an option.
I wonder.
A Sludge Belcher is so annoying and resilient to deal with. It takes 4 attacks on both sides for a Sludge Belcher to kill itself.
Wow.
All right, well, if you're T.Celestial here, are you suiciding your Ooze into the Sludge Belcher, or are you gonna hope that your Sludge Belcher can
sometimes
do work?
You have to ooze it or lose it.
Ooze or lose. Absolutely. Isn't that the truth? Ooze or lose. It's the mantra of arena players everywhere, actually.
Oh man, Tiddler looks really stressed, but he's the one with board control.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, there is a silence there. And he could actually, if he wants to, he could use the circle to kill off everything on his opponent's board. He could absolutely clear it out entirely. He has the 2 mana for the hero power to kill.
He did not silence the
slime.
Belcher first.
He doesn't need to silence it.
Oh, because he can kill it off with the hero
Right,
power.
yeah, he has the hero power available.
Yeah,
well, and the Death Rattle Dark Cultist activates first over the Sludge Belcher because it was played beforehand. So if it was played the other way around, that slime would have been a 1-5.
That's right.
Yeah, good point. And D2 probably, hopefully, thinking about that and realizing that before he did it.
I think so.
I imagine he's got a good handle on Death Rattle interactions.
You're always the freshest in the morning. These guys probably have thought about all those possibilities. That's why they make you take standardized testing in the morning.
There's
So
a
they
funny
told
interaction with Wild Pyromancer and Shadow Madness. Shadow Madness, if you take your opponent's Pyromancer, actually it triggers.
Yep.
It does one to everything.
Yeah.
Which means even that was a 4-mana way to remove do 1 damage,
Right.
which you felt like it was worth saving at that point.
Ooh.
A Black Knight might actually serve a very important function in this matchup.
It could, but for now, that Akanai Soul Priest is actually a real threat. He doesn't have any good way to deal with it.
Do you silence that?
Maybe you do. Do you power word shield it and then silence it?
To get that card draw?
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
silence.
but this game is going to fatigue, my friend.
Yep. You know, yesterday we ended a little bit earlier, but I think we're averaging out around here.
Ooh.
Pyromancer and Shadow Word Death. Pyromancer, not as important in this matchup, but it often can be if you run out of Akanai Soul Priest and circle combos. It's another
Right.
way to get that mass damage with Holy Nova and Power Word Shield.
Yeah, it's a really important part of that control priest deck, having that available. You do need access to a lot of AoE as a priest. And now Wild Pyro appears in D2's hand. So maybe he has a chance to clear everything out. I don't know. Does he have enough? He could.
Let's see. He's got 4 damage.
He could kill everything.
Oh, yes. He could silence as well.
Is that worth
Yeah,
it?
he
That's
can
a lot of cards.
He
to
can
kill
silence,
2
or
minions.
he can silence, or he can Circle of Healing. Either way, he can save one and use the other.
He does have the Northshire Cleric, so if he does do that, he could draw some cards.
Well, he doesn't have enough mana to clear everything out and play Northshire Cleric this turn, so that's unfortunately not going to be an option. However, he can still clear everything and have the Wild Pyro theoretically alive, maybe to get healed next turn.
This is a tough turn.
No, this is a tough turn.
Actually, he could use Northshire Cleric and draw cards, but that would require giving up Circle of Healing as well. And I feel like he's drawn so many cards already. There is that tightrope where you draw too many cards, and then Northshire Cleric ends up drawing cards because your opponent's healing it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's got to decide. There's a lot of animations to go here.
Oh, yeah. This is so
And he's playing touchpad. These players have a choice of playing on the touchpad or with a mouse. And he didn't play the circle first. He didn't play. He's gonna have to use a silence now if he wants to kill it off.
Oh, interesting.
And he can do so. Oh, and he decides not to.
Wow.
Interesting.
Silence is so valuable because you know your opponent has cards like Sylvanas in the deck, or
Right.
Sarah. That card is your defense, your last line of defense.
But he decided to hold on to the Circle of Healing as well. He could have used that as the first spell that he played.
Do you think he assumes that the right play for Celestial is to trade into the Pyromancer with his
Right.
Akanai Soul Priest?
It is slightly out of range, but fortunately for T.Celestial, he has that 1 damage spell, Holy Smite. Or the 2 damage spell, excuse me. 1 mana cost.
Oh, he forgot to Circle of Healing.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's tempting. You
We've all done it
well,
before.
Ysera is here. Ysera has arrived and will stand opposed to these minions now.
A nightmare.
Would his hand be better? Oh, and then now he gets.
Your Ysera belongs to me.
Yeah. Shadow Word Death on your own
Oh
Sylvanas.
no! Wow, so power,
And then,
much steel.
Well,
do you take it back with
yeah.
mind control?
The problem is you still leave 7 damage coming in next turn if you do.
Exactly.
Oh.
If he mind controls, if he mind controls Ysera back, he just dies.
He goes to,
Right?
to 1.
Yeah.
He goes to 1.
Wow. Can you stop death here somehow? That was huge for Tiddler. Sarah Awakens just deals so much damage.
Oh, that was such a swing play. He identified it immediately. He knew exactly. Oh man.
Oh, it's over.
No, I think he goes to 1.
He goes to
Oh
1 health. He goes to
my
1 health.
gosh.
Ugh. Or theoretically 1. He might not pull the trigger on the Awakens.
Sure.
He would kill his own minions.
Sure, yeah.
Well, maybe he can draw
He's got
into it.
7 damage from the minions plus 2 from his hero power. 9 plus 5 more for Ysera Awakens. Wow, he just needs his opponent to play a minion he can Shadow Madness into the face with.
Sounds good.
That's likely to happen this game, isn't it? He's holding two Dark Cultists.
Well, first let's draw to see if there's a possibility of picking up the lethal damage, but he doesn't get it.
He'll probably hold on to the Ysera Awakens. Yep, and I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised to see him play Cabal Shadow Priest. He knows...
There's just no targets for it.
Well, he doesn't need a target. At this point, he just needs to finish the game.
Yeah.
Let me change your mind.
6 mana Yeti, sure. No
so
problem.
Close to death. What can D2 do?
He needs an AoE clear on what his opponent's doing. Arcanized Soul Priest.
Oh,
He gets an Arcanized Soul Priest. Whoa! You can take it by Shadow Madness.
Oh, wow!
That's pretty great, honestly.
He still can't kill everything, though.
Does he have a
does he not?
Pyromancer or no? It doesn't
He has
have
a
anything?
Circle of Healing.
Oh,
so
he can use his hero power.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
But then he'll still be at 6 life.
Wow.
But yeah, he can use his hero power after he steals the Arcanite Soul Priest. I wonder if he'll see it. That was a good...
Could we see this game turn around? He just has
Okay.
to never play a 3-attack minion until he gets to high
6
enough
health. 6 health. Are you worried about that at all? So say you Shadow.
Yeah.
Well, it's still like Priest isn't known for
season.
bursting. So say he uses this. Say he can even say Circle of Healing, and he uses like Nightmare instead on the Shadow Madness creature. He trades that, uses the hero power, and then he has a clear board. He also can load up 2 other minions. Oh, sorry, I miscounted the mana. But I feel like this play is really strong.
Oh, and he's going to do this so that he doesn't have to circle.
Exactly.
Wow.
Nightmare instead of circle, but now... Oh, even Northshire Cleric kills him.
Does it? You're right.
Yes.
Oh, no!
Oh, it's over. If Tiddler Celestial sees it,
Yeah,
We're
that
gonna be
Shadow
moving on to
Madness,
game 3.
He definitely sees it. He look at him
Oh
counting.
man.
Laughing
actually
Sister
should
would
have
not
played-
have lost him the game because
Yeah.
he can't
He
Shadow
needed
Madness
to
it.
play the Laughing Sister and nothing else.
oh, but that's such a hard call to make. How do you assume that they got Ysera Awakens?
Yep. Oh, well, he also has hero power.
Oh, he had
Yep.
Arcanite Soul Priest
of course.
already. Okay.
This game was over.
It was over already. All right.
Fake out.
This
That's
is-
gonna do it. You know, it didn't
Wow.
go to the fatigue, but there was really important, powerful moves that T.Celestial made, and that evens it up 1-1.
incredible
Wow.
match.
Well, it didn't go to fatigue. All right.
You're right.
Well, priest versus priest, no fatigue. I'll take it.
Yes.
And what does that mean for D2? What is his plan moving forward now that he knows he's up against his opponent's control priest?
Ragnaros. All right, so today,
Goodbye.
today, Ben, every time you see Ragnaros, you have to say by fire. Big bird. Yeah, you have to do it, all right? Yesterday was Jiraxis. You still can do it, but today is Ragnaros.
Well, I hope we see a lot of Ragnaros.
It certainly has such swing potential in matches.
Oh!
Wow.
You
playing
know what I
Jiraxis
don't
and
like,
Ragnaros.
though, is I see Soulfire in that hand, which means Drax is very
Oh,
unlikely
the
to
aggro,
survive.
the aggro hand. He
Yeah.
doesn't have any of the big 4-drops in his hand, so he's just gonna make essentially a turn 1 Yeti.
Yeah,
That wasn't Innervated Yeti, right?
basically, yeah.
And being able to put out that creature is really problematic for T.Celestial unless he draws that Holy Smite. But
He
he
does
even
have the
has
one
the
slot.
Farseer to heal up
Oh, wow.
the statue.
He
this
does.
is huge. This is definitely a different play style.
Man, that Wild Paramancer was not expecting that.
Yeah,
Wasn't. It's just imagine you're on a tour of some foreign country that you're in, and the statue just wakes up and attacks you. That's just what happened.
But yesterday we saw a game where the Ancient Watcher was coined out on turn 1,
Right.
and it didn't do. It stayed a 4/5 the
Sure.
whole game
Yep.
until like turn 10 or
It
something,
was
and then
just
it
a
got
statue.
Sylvanas.
It's just a statue.
All right. Do you
Don't
Soulfire
listen
this
to
time?
him, Ancient Watcher.
No, all right. No Soulfire.
Gotta protect Jiraxis.
Yeah, I know, right?
You can't Soulfire until turn 9.
What if it discarded something else?
It doesn't feel like it ever discards something
Nope.
else.
It always
Not even
discards
possible,
Jiraxis.
Reels. Ooh, that's interesting. So he picks up another Silence to deal with Twilight Drake, which is important. And he picks up his own Twilight Drake, so he can be resilient to fight against the Blue.
Yep. Well, finally Life Tap is coming out. I wonder if he'll continue to play this aggressively. He has the board. but his opponent's at 30. He probably will end up holding on. Yeah, he holds on to this one here. Okay. I like that. D2. Quite the aggressive start against the Priest here.
Well, you know, T.Celestial does have some important cards.
He's got decks are reversed. The Priest is playing Twilight Drake.
Oh, no.
The handlock is rushing him down.
When the Priest starts playing Twilight Drakes, man. Look out.
You can't really play around the possibility of a Thought Stolen Shadow Flame or anything, right? Like when Thought Stealer's played, you just don't really care about what they're playing, or you just keep in mind that they have a card.
Yeah, it does happen, though.
It does.
It absolutely happens.
But you can't really play around possibilities of what they do and don't have.
Holy Nova takes a lot of damage off the board here.
Yeah, wipes, what, 6 damage off the board? So
yeah, 7 maybe?
Yeah, but there's still
the sludge. Gotcha.
Ah, right on time.
Hello, Giant.
It's pretty good.
Oh, and he does just slam the Giant. I like that a lot. So he could have Siphon Souled the Drake, but if the Giant goes unopposed, that is so powerful.
He is definitely going unopposed here.
Oh,
man, he really wanted to get a Shadow Word Death this turn. He still can draw it.
Oh, yeah. Is he going to try and sneak it out here?
What's it going to be now?
Ooh.
Just a Shadow Priest.
All right, well, he's just going to cross his fingers and hope he doesn't die, but we know that this almost means certain death, right?
Well, he's got Soulfire in his hand.
Yeah, that means no matter what he does,
he's got lethal. That's game.
He's game over.
Wow.
Man,
that was so fast.
I want to see Jiraxis play, and I want to see Harrison Jones put his paws in a museum.
His paws? Is that what he attacks with? He's just got paws?
He is.
Is that what it says on it? I don't even know.
It's called Blood Fury, right? It's just got his hands are in the air. All furious.
If I remember in World of Warcraft, he's like holding an axe or something, right?
I don't know.
Those paws belong to
Kind of something. Oh, man, that was amazing. What an aggressive start for D2.
Yeah, well done to recognize that he can be aggressive. You're very tempted all the time to play into the main roadmap of Handlock, which is tap your life tap and draw cards until turn 4, play your Mountain Giants and your Twilight Drakes, but you recognize the opportunity to flip the switch and say, you know what, I have a hand that's perfect curve and can be really aggressive and Priest.
He didn't have any of the Twilight Drakes or Mountain Giants anyway.
So if you and Artosis were in said clan, who would be D1 and who would be D2? Would you be D1?
Well, D2 is obviously D2.
Well, okay.
And I would say that Artosis...
The game has started.
Artosis was born before me, so he's D1.
Okay, all right.
I'll be D3.
That's how it goes.
Look at his hand for the Hunter. My goodness.
That is so good.
It's good. I think you just want to draw the Undertaker, but having the Ironbeak Owl silence is so powerful. Not necessarily just to deal with the Drakes, because that is certainly one thing that naturally get counters, but also to get past taunts in the late stages of the game.
Yeah, Sludge Belcher is 2 taunts in 1, and it gets through both of them.
That's right.
And Big Game Hunter in the handlock.
Wow.
That's not what you need.
Oh, what a... This does not feel like a good hand. I guess the Mortal Coil kills off a Leper Gnome and draws a good card.
Yes,
hopefully
that is true.
Better cards.
Now, D2 is one of the players who's, incidentally enough, beaten Hunter a lot with his handlock.
Fire be purged.
That might actually be a really important card. In fact, the more I think about it, Ragnaros might be one of the ways Handlock can win this game.
Yeah.
You don't have to ever trigger a trap.
Yeah, you just get to smash. He just smashes in for 8.
Yeah, until he silences your Rag and makes you make a tough decision.
Ooh. Hellfire is pretty good.
Yeah, these are decent cards that D2's picking up.
I thought this hand looked pretty mediocre at first, but it's getting better.
It still is. Obviously you'd like Ancient Watchers and Taunts and Sludge Belchers to slow down your opponent, but you got to make do with what you're given.
Ooh. What is it? All right, well...
Leok.
That's a little poor for Tiddler. He'd like to put a little bit more pressure or at least have...
Hey, it survives Hellfire.
Well, does it?
Oh, it does not.
Does it? The Ironbeak Owl. It's going to go in.
What are you good for, Ironbeak Owl? Man, just think... I'm imagining, like, Harry Potter just saying like, yeah, Hedwig, whatever. Just
Oh, so sad.
Harry, you've changed. Is he gonna Soulfire? I think he
Yeah.
wants to. Oh man.
oh, drag it over the other minion. All right,
Yeah, that's
well,
not so bad, in fact.
it's all right.
The face
Way better than
manipulator
Ragnaros.
would be problematic, but you know, it's not the worst discard in the
Are we
world.
going to see double Ragnaros this game?
That requires him to survive till turn 9, at least. And I don't know. I mean, I recently watched Fury, the movie, and those guys took they had a lot of ammunition and survived. I don't know if this is the same kind of scenario if D2 can last as long.
Just coined out Snake Trap instead of coining out Savannah Hyman next turn.
He did.
I mean, it makes sense because he's got a lot more
Wow.
aggression, but he doesn't have a great play next turn.
It's going to be Hellfire time now.
Should he have attacked face?
Well, triggering the trap, the snake trap, is actually not bad.
Okay.
Yeah, especially with Hellfire.
And if he figures it's a freezing trap, he wants to get rid of the freezing trap. But he could have done that by attacking face.
Oh,
Yeah.
the naked Houndmaster.
What?
So
What?
Show
sad.
some decency,
He looks
Houndmaster. Put
he looks
some
close
clothes
to
on.
me.
I mean,
So then you faceless this?
without being clothed by another beast.
This is a very weak turn
Faceless.
for D2.
I think facelessing the Houndmaster would have been okay.
Really? The potential. Now he's got a much better target.
Yeah, well, if he does that, he's just dead. If he facelesses the Savannah Hymen, he actually dies.
Oh, you're right. Maybe he should have faceless to the Houndmaster.
yeah.
Well, there's another trap up, right? That mad scientist popped off the Hellfire. So if he did faceless, there'd be a chance that he couldn't attack with the Houndmaster anyways.
True.
Well, it looks like he's going to be
Oh, wow.
just dead.
That's amazing.
Sad but true.
It's game.
So much damage, Hunter. All of a sudden.
he needed this to Ironbeak out to be a Sun Fury protector. And that is a freezing trap, so I think the consequence is about the same either way. Because he didn't face us, it wouldn't have mattered. And this is going to end it in Tiddler/Celestial's favor. We're going to game 5.
Wow. Oh, I saw an unused Ragnaros and Jiraxis in that Handlock's hand.
Nope.
Is that a sad day?
It is.
Well, when you're playing against Hunter, the game doesn't always go that long.
Of course.
When you do get to Jiraxis against Hunter, you're usually feeling pretty good.
Yes, that's true.
The heal back up to 15, yes, thank you.
Man, that was really aggressive. And that's the thing about the Warlock is just helping the Hunter win the whole game.
Yeah, you know, he only life tapped, I think, once for the Warrior player, because you can justify keeping them even though you don't have the Fiery War Axe.
Yep.
That 2-mana weapon is often...
Oh!
D2 is really good at this game.
Oh, well, Tiddler/Celestial
Oh.
not so bad
Yeah,
either.
just drew Undertaker on turn 1 there.
But
Yep.
if both players draw optimally, who's favored in this matchup?
Well, the Fiery War Axe can easily take care of the early aggression here.
I believe if both players, I don't know if this is true actually, but I think if both players were to draw perfectly, I think it favors the Warrior because their answers do line up well against the threats that Hunter is playing.
Yeah.
But sometimes Hunter has this great curve, and then you deal with their early curve kinda, and then 2 Savannah Hymens happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3.
Sometimes 4 with Web Spinner.
Wait, you make it to 4? Whoa.
It happens. But you know what? I always get Captain Spirit off my Web Spinners. Or King Crush.
I've gotten King Crush so many times, man. The King Crush definitely likes me. I don't know why.
I get Oasis Snapjay every time.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually a pretty decent beast.
I need to find where I can, where the levers are in around Blizzard. There's got to be a
Yeah.
room
Oh, you
where
guys do control it.
the web spinner levers that just
Alright. Rumors confirmed.
like flip it up and more King Crushes, flip it down and
He was considering his for a
more
second
Captain
there
Spirits.
using his hero power. 2 health, 3 health, not that huge of a difference, right?
Yeah, I
He did.
suppose not.
Actually, you leave yourself open to cleave. I don't know if he expects cleave.
Yeah, you know, Clea is not that popular in the metagame, so I wouldn't expect it.
And now, what was the trap? I didn't see it.
We didn't either. There was Puff and the Mad Scientist.
Oh,
It has a high likelihood of being freezing trap or snake trap, but attack immediately.
Interesting.
Yes. Really trying to deny the card draw from his opponent, which of course is the right play. Look how many ways he can get draws.
And now, if he wants to, he can spend a turn armoring up here. He can clear out his opponent's minions and just armor up.
Yep.
And once that train starts going, it often does not get stopped. Usually, Savannah Highmane is the card that keeps the pressure up for Hunter. And
do you like the prospect of keeping, like putting out the cool Taskmaster instead and keeping Whirlwind perhaps? Or like,
Sure.
so that way you can pop the trap as soon as you can.
Right,
Or even
so-
force him to trade, which is, you can save Whirlwind.
you're right, and the likelihood is that D2 is probably only playing one Whirlwind in his deck.
Right.
There's probably not a second Whirlwind, so that is all of his possible AE for something like a Snake Trap, and he knows T.Celestial is playing Snake Trap. So you're right, that he could consider holding on to it. It would cost him a little bit more damage, but it still could even still trade with that minion, so...
He's really thinking it over. This is a lot of pressure. This is the game 5.
Yeah, he doesn't want to make a single. These early turns are what define this matchup, because it's what Hunter uses to get the early damage in. It's what Warrior does to make sure to keep that damage out. So this is like the early stages where it sets up those powerful turns. People look at cards like Savannah Highmane and like, oh well, that was the deciding factor. But these early turns are also just
All right, well, still some good draws from T.Celestial here.
Yeah, it's keeping the pressure up.
And that's very much a big deal.
He doesn't have a beast in the battlefield, though, so Sentient Shieldmaster could stick around.
It could. Instead, it's just going to be Loatheb. So Loatheb's all right, too. If Loatheb will need to attack to be defensive. So if it is a freezing trap, which it seemed like it was.
It seems... I would assume it is. But either way, it doesn't change the way the Hunter plays his turn. He's just attacking face. You have to be as consistent as possible rushing your opponent down.
All right, well, going to be moment of truth here, because there's no reason for him not to attack.
Like it's
And it is
freezing.
freezing. So if it had been snakes, that would have been good for D2. But
Yeah.
freezing, there's actually this is a real threat. This board here.
Warrior's down to 17. He's got the kill command in his hand.
Yeah, but he's got the Sentient Shieldmaster, so that perhaps can start baiting. And one thing that's important is D2 has not been armoring up whatsoever.
Well, Web Spinner died, and Ben Brode is the winner because inside the box was an Oasis Snapjaw.
Do you think he'll execute the Mad Scientist?
I don't think so. Well, and he doesn't. So you could. It would not even have been bad.
Well, the bow actually fills it out pretty nicely. You don't have to use anything else to remove the Sentient Shieldmaster now.
Right?
Oh, he's going to use Kill Command.
Ah,
Get
so
the
he
repetitive damage in with the minion.
keeps the minion alive. And this is such a tough spot for D2, actually. Shield Slam, not really doing it. 7 mana Loatheb?
Yeah, that's tough. It doesn't.
Can he survive long enough that Alex Straza keeps him alive here?
That's what he's got to be banking on, right?
Oh, right. Do you think he regrets not executing the Mad Scientist at this point, given what happened last turn?
Yeah, if he ends up doing it this turn, and he may be forced to,
Yeah.
then that will be two more
Oh,
damage, and
wow.
he just plays the Loatheb. So this is going to be, what, 9 damage this turn? He's going to be down to 4? 4 life, and his opponent has
And he's still
Unleash in hand?
another mana away from Alex Strasza.
Yeah, I think you're just going as hard as you can. Unleash the Hounds might be the last point of damage, not to mention you still have weapon.
Wow.
D2 needs some way to gain life, and fast. Armor Smith,
Shield block.
shield block, something.
Opponent has 10 damage? Wow. Is that it?
Now, I don't see a way for him to dig himself out of here. He
Oh,
needs to.
man.
He needs to. Let's see.
He can't kill all 3 minions without taking damage.
Well, I think if you. Oh, you're right. You can't leave up a single minion because the weapon.
Yep.
Did
As
he-
far as we can tell, that's it.
Did he need to execute that mad scientist?
I mean, if they execute the Mad Scientist and another Freezing Trap came out, Lothar would be just equally as useful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even Snake Trap would have been a real problem.
Man, Celestial has taken this series. Wow.
Oh, D2 looks crushed. He realizes that there's nothing I think he can do from this position.
Now he can see, he can count it right now and see that there's no way to get above that health threshold.
Oh man, you look at the left side of his hand, just all of these expensive stranded cards. The 8, the 9, the 6.
Well, at least he knows he has won the first round, so he's not out of the round of 8 just yet.
Yep. D2, not done. He's not eliminated, but
Just got
you
that
must
much
choose,
harder.
and there is no choice.
It looks like he's just a little bit short because he could eliminate 2 of these creatures, but he makes himself vulnerable to the attack. I think on the off chance his opponent messes up, D2 is going to pass it over, but T.Celestial has a little bit damage over with Unleash the Hounds.
Yep. 6
Wow.
showing in play. D2 knows it.
So, does Tiddler just go for it, or does he trade in Web Spinner, evaluate, and then go for the kill?
Oh, that would be max BM.
Do it!
Oh no, the overkill
it.
instead.
All
right, well.
Wow, incredible series. Goes
Wow.
to T.Celestial.
Goes the distance.
All right.
Tiddler Celestial, Artosis somewhere, has got a.
He's right behind you.
I imagine so.
Yeah,
He's saying, "Told you so."
Great series overall to start off the day, but